Okay, we're all set, Jackie.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. This is a special meeting of Livingston's Planning Board, and notice of this meeting has been published in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
Thanks,
Mr.
Nick.
Ratner.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Ratner. Mr. Lewis.
Here.
Mr. Dufford.
Here.
Ms. Vishnu.
Here.
Ms. Khanna.
Here.
Vice Chair Santola.
Here.
Chairman Fernandez.
Here.
We have our quorum. Mr. Reber, Mr. Diner, Ms. Fass, and Mr. Butani are not present. We also have a board attorney or assistant township engineer in our board planner. We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. If you can just call the first matter, please.
That matter is preliminary and final site plan for Block 103, Lot 2, 111 Dorset Avenue, application number 2026-30-PFSP, Across International LLC, located in the I-Zone.
Thank you. Yeah, please, come on up. Make yourself at home. Yes, yeah, that would be great. Or else you'll get yelled at from the guy in the back.
The wizard.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. James Weber of Alfonso and Weber, the attorneys for the applicants Across International LLC. This is regarding property located at 111 Dorset, and it is requesting permission in the form of a preliminary and final site plan for a 960 square foot storage shed. As part of that site plan, there are two variances that are required. Because the shed is set 5 feet from the rear lot line and 5 feet from the side lot line, it violates the setback requirements associated with accessory structures in the non-residential industrial zone. One of those setbacks is from the rear yard, where the height of the building determines the amount that it is set back, approximately 16 feet. There's also a setback from the side yard, which does not follow the same as the rear yard, but instead requires that from the side yard, the accessory structure should be set back the same distance as the principal building, which is 40 feet. So in both of those cases, we're 5 feet from the side lot line, 5 feet from the rear lot line in that rear corner. Otherwise, if we were to put this storage shed conforming with the ordinance, it would be in the middle of the parking lot, in the middle of the loading zone areas. If the board has any questions of me, I'll be happy to answer them, but otherwise I would call Mr. Mike Lanzafama, professional engineer, to the stand to be sworn in to give testimony in this matter.
Before we do that, Mr. Chairman, I want to recognize Member Butani.
Thank you. Okay.
Oh, one more point, Mr. Chairman. The corporate executive who was supposed to be here could not be here because of a personal emergency. And she did send her assistant, Ling Zhao, who is here, but she does not have the decision-making power that that executive did. But we hope the board bears with us. She was planning on being here, but it was an emergency that she could not avoid.
Certainly understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. My name is Michael Lanzafama, that's Lanzafama. I'm a licensed professional engineer, land surveyor, and planner, licensed within the state of New Jersey. I'm a principal with the firm of Casey and Keller Incorporated, 258 Main Street, Millburn, New Jersey. My licenses are all still current. I'll be testifying this evening as both an engineer and a planner.
Are there any questions from members of the board? You're accepted as an expert in engineering and planning by this board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what I have up on the screen currently is an aerial view of the subject property and the surrounding area. And as you can see from the exhibit, maybe you can't see it. What is going on? scroll across the bottom. There you go. There we go. Okay. And we'll pull this down and get this property. There we go. So what we have outlined in a blue color is the property in question. It is tax lot 2 in block 103. It is a 150-foot wide by 290-foot deep commercial property in the I limited industrial zone within the township. It is on the southerly side of Dorset Avenue, about 300 feet east of Nalon Place. The application is for us to construct a 960 square foot, 24 by 40 outdoor storage shed. It's going to be a metal prefabricated shed that would be used for the storage of material that they currently have to keep in the building, such as wooden crates, wooden pallets, things of that sort. There's no vehicles to be parked in it. It's only used for storage, so it can open up more floor space within the principal building. So let's move to the site plan itself. The principal building is they supply devices for laboratory research. They don't assemble anything there. They receive them, and then they distribute them to various laboratories for sale and for application. They do some servicing of the equipment, but there's no manufacturing actually done there. It's just mostly distribution. What I currently have on the screen is the rear portion of the property, which there's 2 loading bays at the back of the property. You can see there's parking all around the back portion. Access to the loading doors is available through the paved parking area. The surrounding properties, as you saw from the aerial, are all commercial uses. They're parking areas, as well as other storage buildings in close proximity to the back corner. Parking is also located on the right side of the building, and there is access directly from Dorset Avenue via a 24-foot wide service driveway. All of the aisles are 24 feet as required by your code. The parking stalls are all 9 by 18 with the ability to have the 2-foot overhang to meet the township code, which provides for 9 by 20 spaces. However, if you have the ability to have a 2-foot overhang, you can reduce them to 9 by 18. And these are all existing on site. The proposal, as I said, what I have up on the screen currently is the 24 by 40 storage shed. The shed is 960 square feet. Its height is 15 feet 8 inches, which is compliant with the accessory structure height limitations within the non-residential zones. To be able to place the shed where we did, we had to reconfigure the parking. So there was a loss of approximately 9 parking spaces. We lost 7 spaces across the back, and we also lost a parking space or 2 along the right side to account for some handicap parking, which currently does not exist on the site at the current time. The rationale behind placing the handicap parking spots where we did is immediately opposite the driveway. There's an on-grade access into the building so that visitors have the ability to enter the building, and then there's a corridor that allows them to move down along the side of the building and get to the office space in the front. The grade is such that if there's no direct access or handicap accessible access at the front, there's a number of risers that exist, so the best place to place them was at the rear. In addition to the storage shed, we'd also like to install a 4-foot wide concrete sidewalk. And I know the configuration of the sidewalk might look a little unusual. However, the corporate culture is that they would like people to enter the building from the east. So there's that orientation that this sidewalk goes due east and west. We're also willing to install sidewalks along our frontage. I know that was a recommendation within Mr. Marucci's memorandum, and we would be happy to install a 4-foot wide concrete sidewalk along our frontage. The building itself, the addition, not the addition, the storage shed itself, one of the rationale behind locating it where we did was to be able to access or continue to access the rear garage door openings. The loading area is available immediately behind the building. The garage doors are at grade. There's no tailboard loading because we don't really need that. So that's why we pushed the shed to the southeast corner of the property. In addition to that rationale, the property is also partially located within the flood hazard area. This also puts the storage shed at the highest elevation on the property. So, and it would be located above the flood elevation. According to the FEMA mapping, the flood elevation in this area is approximately 175. So that would put, as I said, the building is set at elevation 178.33, so that puts it above the flood hazard elevation. This would also qualify as a permit by rule number 14 for a technically open building. We're going to put flood vents on the base of the building to allow for free movement of floodwaters should the flood ever even increase beyond what the anticipated level is currently. So based upon the fact that there are existing permitted structures on the property and our need to be able to reutilize the parking area and the loading area, in my opinion, the setback variances that we are seeking could be granted under the C1 criteria because we have certain practical difficulties with structures that are lawfully existing on the property. In addition, the fact that portion of the property is in the flood hazard area also poses some practical difficulties for us. And as Mr. Weber pointed out, the extent of the variance that we are seeking for the side yard setback is 35 feet, where 40 feet is required. We're proposing 5. And for the rear setback, the setback requirement is equal to the height of the structure, which would be 15 feet 8 inches, and we're setting back 5 feet, so we would seek a variance for 10 feet 8 inches. I believe that covers the variances we're seeking and the rationale behind it, as well as answering some of the questions within the engineering memo. We also did receive a memorandum dated May 22nd from Harbor Consulting, your planner. There were a number of comments that he raised in evaluating the site and wanted some additional information to determine whether or not any additional variances were needed. One of the items, as I attested to earlier, is the fact that all of the drive aisles are 24 feet wide, so they are compliant. I also attested to the fact that the parking stalls are compliant at 9 by 18 feet. The minimum driveway width has to be an increment of 10 feet in each direction. Our driveway entrance is 24 feet, so that is compliant. There is no parking within 10 feet of the building, which is also a requirement within the zone, so we're also compliant with that. And that the setback for the parking from Dorset Avenue, which is currently existing, is right at 50 feet. So we're compliant. There's an existing nonconformity with regard to the side yard setback and a small nonconformity with regard to the front yard setback by about 1/4 of an inch. But those are existing nonconforming conditions that are totally unrelated to the proposal of the storage shed. So I believe that responds to the memos, unless there's something I've overlooked or haven't addressed.
Mike, can you be more specific on the storage? What's going to be stored in the shed?
Wooden pallets, plywood because they make crates when they ship the apparatus to different facilities. So it's basically wood materials that would be stored in there.
There's also a comment about, thank you. An EV-ready spot versus an EV spot. Was there any thoughts or?
It's not required, we're not proposing any new parking spaces.
Okay.
They're all existing parking spots. So we don't believe that that's required under state law, and there's no desire to put any in at this time.
Okay.
And the storage, you said mostly wood, there won't be any like combustibles or chemicals or
That's
things going to
correct.
set all those pallets on fire, right?
Right.
That's where you're going,
That's
Chief,
where I
right?
was going.
Yeah,
No 55 gallon.
I knew the fire chief was asking that question.
That's all we hear now. Am I reading this right? You only need 11 parking spaces for the use?
No. No, we need 23. I think we need 11 for the office space, Steve.
Okay. So I wasn't reading it right. So, but you have 33, so you have more than enough.
We have more than enough.
Are there any occasions where there's overflow parking? I don't know where you'd park.
Not that I'm aware of. I've never been there where I've seen all the parking spots filled.
The shed, is this on footings and, I mean, it's built
Yeah.
in, it's not sitting on the ground? It's not going to
Yeah.
float away in a flood, okay?
No, it's going to be mounted on footings, yes, on piers. It'll be actually on piers.
Rocco, Gabe, do you have anything for Mr. Lansafama that, from your review letters that need to be covered?
Well, I'm looking at the review letters, and there's a request to update the plans to delineate the flood area. You're willing to do that as a condition?
Sure.
Okay. And also, you gave testimony regarding the positive criteria for the C1 variance, but I didn't hear any testimony regarding the negative. If you can please
Yeah,
provide that.
and given the fact that the commercial nature of the property and all the surrounding areas, I don't see any negative impact to the neighborhood or the intent and purpose of the zone plan. You know, the simple fact of being able to take material that would have been stored outside and put it in a structure that is quite nice, actually, as you submitted as part of the application, in my mind, is certainly a benefit as opposed to a detriment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any trees that need to be cut or trimmed to create the shed space there?
No.
No.
And there were two waivers requested, environmental impact statement waiver and
And
a
stormwater.
stormwater management plan waiver. Rocco, you were okay with those, right?
Yeah, I'm fine with.
Any questions or concerns from the board about that? The requested waivers? All right, so those are fine with the board also.
Mr. Lansafama, can you just confirm, is a DEP permit required with this application for the storage shed?
It's a permit by rule.
Permit
We
by-
qualify for permit by rule number 14.
Okay.
Any consideration or thought, or whether it be to paint a crosswalk from those handicap spots over?
Mr. Lewis, I
A
can't-
handicap, like a crosswalk from the handicap spots
we
to the building?
could do that. We could stripe
make
that
sense,
across,
or-
sure.
Okay.
You indicated there's a prior pre-existing nonconformity. Any consideration of amending your application to include that C variance relief too, so we can clean it up, do a cleanup in aisle 6, and just add that to this resolution?
I would defer to Mr. Weber.
If the board is inclined to confirm the setbacks of the existing building as variances, then that would protect that building in case of any destruction in the future. So it would be appreciated. We appreciate that, Mr. Torriello.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions from members of the public for this witness as to this witness's testimony? Seeing none.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
And then just to, any members of the public wishing to make sworn statements for or against the application? Seeing none. Any closing statements, Mr. Weber?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman?
Any closing statements that you wish
No,
to make?
nothing further.
Okay, great.
Unless the chair wants me to say something.
No, that's quite okay. So The parties having opportunity to make closing statements, it appears to the chair that the applicant, all interested persons, and the board members have had reasonable opportunity to be heard, that the evidentiary record of this hearing ought to be closed. Absent objection, in the absence of any motion for a continuance, the evidentiary record is closed, and no further testimony or evidence shall be heard or received. The board members now shall have an opportunity to state their views on the application.
I make a motion to approve the application. I think the positive criteria were set forth, and it's helpful to get look at the pictures. There are some outdoor storage of pallets and whatnot that will hopefully go away and ease their production, which I think is something that we want to do in this area of town, is facilitate this type of business. That's what it's there. That's the industrial zone. And I don't really see any negative criteria, so I would make a motion to approve, subject to the conditions that were put on there.
And is there a second?
I second.
Kate seconds.
Jackie?
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, Member Wishnu will vote in place of Member Reber, and Member Khanna will vote in place of Member Diner.
Thank you.
Mr. Santola?
Yes.
Mr. Botani?
Yes.
Mr. Ratner?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Dufford?
Yes.
Ms. Wishnu?
Yes.
Ms. Khanna?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez?
Yes,
Thank you. Motion carries.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very
Chairman.
much. Appreciate it. Thank you for the presentation. Well, that would be nice, as a flashlight. Jack, if you can please call the next matter.
Thank you. The next matter scheduled for this evening is preliminary and final site plan and amendment for Block 100, Lot 3.01, 630 Route 10, application number 2022-9-PFSP, amendment for Spectrum 360 LLC, located in the R5L Residence Overlay Zone.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening to you and board members, board professionals, and all the members of the public that are here tonight as well. John Inglesino from the law firm of Inglesino Taylor, representing the applicant Spectrum 360 with respect to amended site plan application and bulk variance relief. The subject property is Lot 3.01 in Block 100 on the official tax map of the Township of Livingston and known as 630 West Mount Pleasant Ave. The board may recall that the property received preliminary and final site plan approval on July 5th of 2022 to operate the facility as a school for individuals with special needs. And on September 24th, 2024, the applicant received minor site plan committee approval for the installation of a perimeter safety fence and gates at heights of 4 and 5 feet at various locations. The school administrators have now sort of reviewed this again and concluded that 6 feet is really necessary to ensure the safety of the students, particularly due to the fact that the property borders and fronts Route 10. So as such, we are seeking a variance and amended site plan approval for the installation of a 6-foot-high safety fence in the outside perimeter of the parking area. There's also an automatic gate proposed at the main entrance from West Mount Pleasant Ave. Fencing and gating is also proposed at each of the building doors on the Uckner Parkway side of the building. The variance is required, again, because the height of the fence exceeds the fence height limitation of 4 feet in the front yard. And we're also going to be proposing some landscape modifications, which will be explained by our engineer. We have 2 review letters from the board's professional, one from Mr. Marucci dated June 2nd, and the other from Harbor Consultants dated June 9th. My only witness here tonight, Mr. Chairman, is Brian Conway of Casey and Keller, although I do want to point out that Spectrum's Executive Director, Ken Berger, is also here this evening, although I don't anticipate that he will be testifying. And so without further ado, I'll call my witness, my one and only witness, Mr. Conway.
Mr.
you.
Conway, can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're going to provide in this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Conway, you've appeared before this board in the past, correct?
Certainly.
Recently, you've been accepted as a witness on numerous
Absolutely.
occasions. Your licenses are still valid and
Yep.
in effect?
Landscape architect and professional planner.
Respectfully submit your request to the board, accept Mr. Conway as an expert in the area of civil engineering.
Any questions from members of the board? Thank you, and the board accepts you as an expert in civil engineering.
Thank you. Mr. Conway, if you would please summarize the application to the board, and in your affirmative testimony, if you can, please address the issues raised in the comment letters.
Certainly. I'm going to pass by my introduction because John covered it all pretty succinctly. So I'm going to go get right into reviewing the plans, and I'm going to start near the West Mount Pleasant parking lot side of the project. So the parking lot fences that we have shown, which are shown in red on the plan behind me, are the same configuration around the parking lot that we had originally had presented to the minor site plan committee and had approved at a 4-foot height. We're proposing to increase the height of those fences to 6 feet. It's going to be a similar Jareth aluminum fence. The 5-foot fence has 3 horizontal rails. The 6-foot fence has 4 horizontal rails, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom for added strength for the additional height. Other than that, there'll be no changes. The only thing that we've added since then is a little piece at the entry to that parking lot. We have a 6-foot high fence with manual gates that we anticipate will be manned and operated by security personnel to help manage people coming into and out of that parking lot.
Do you have a cut sheet of the fence?
It was part of the original minor site plan. I could certainly provide one, but it's the Jareth. I forget it's on the plan.
Does anybody have a copy of it?
Is it metal, is it wood, is it chain link?
It's aluminum. It's going to be black. It's the same fence that we had specified and approved on our minor site plan.
Yeah, but-
Yeah, I'm sharing. So it's a metal picket fence, black aluminum. What we had approved on the minor site plan was a 3-rail fence, because the 3-rail fences are up to 5 feet tall. For the 6-foot fence, it's a 4-rail fence, so it's vertical aluminum pickets. I think they're 3/4 of an inch. And then the horizontal rails, there's 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. And the extra rail is for additional strength for the 6-foot fence.
What's the spacing between the pickets?
It's probably about 4 inches, which is what is required under building codes so that a child's head can't get stuck in it. So the additional piece of fence on the parking lot in the front is perpendicular to the building at that entryway. And again, that will be a manual gate that will be manned and operated by security personnel. The next,
Would you happen to have saved somewhere on the computer some sort of rendering of it or not? Am I in any of anything that you brought with you today?
no,
Okay.
I did not.
Okay.
I could probably go on their website and take a look at it, but if anybody's familiar with the Verizon building, it's very similar to the metal picket fence. I don't know that it's Jareth, that's a brand name, but it's very similar to the metal picket fence that's in
That's
front
already
of
up
Verizon.
at the Verizon building then?
Correct.
Okay, got it.
So why do we need 6 feet instead of 4 feet? Just explain that.
So the issue that they were having at the Verona school was that distressed students would get loose and climb over the 4-foot-high fence. And in Verona, was much less of a concern because they were pretty well far away from any major street or intersection. Given the close proximity to Oakner Parkway as well as West Mount Pleasant, the concern is that if a student were to get away in the front of the building, out of the building, and get over the 4-foot fence, it would be difficult for a teacher or other professional to get to the student's aid before they got out onto the highway.
So it's strictly a safety issue?
It's a safety issue, absolutely.
Wish I had a picture of the fence.
I agree. So is there room between the fence and the sidewalk to buffer it a little bit?
I'm going to talk about the landscape. We increased the landscaping to help improve the look and, make the fence less conspicuous.
Okay.
I'm showing it.
Thank you.
I don't have any way to get on the screen.
Is that the Verizon fence?
So I just wanted to kind of walk through all the different areas of the fencing.
Sure,
And then we could kind of regroup and share any other conversation or discussions. So the other area that we had included in the minor site plan for the fencing were the 4 doors along Oakner Parkway. And we created a small corral around each door. They were approved by the minor site plan at 5 feet in height. We're going to also increase those to 6 feet in height. There is an outward opening gate so that there's egress available from the building. The idea behind those fences would be to slow the students down so that somebody could get to help them before they get away. And we were locating the gates on the opposite side from Oakner Parkway, from Route 10, so that if they were to get out and go out of the gate, they would be heading away from the highway and not towards it. That's the 4 on the Oakner Parkway side of the building. We had a fence on the playground area. That fence was approved by this board at a 5-foot height as a non-climbable chain link. We're seeking to increase that to 6 feet in height also of the same black non-climbable chain link material. And then in the back of the building, we have the employee parking lot, and we have a 6-foot non-climbable chain link fence that was part of our initial application that's unchanged. Just wanted to get all the fencing out and discussed and reviewed. The other thing that we had added for this application was a section of fence across the drop-off area. So it comes from the corner of the property for the storage unit, and it comes perpendicular to our playground area across both of the entry drives and across that island. And the idea, we would do a manual sliding gate for the upper driveway area that would be operated by security personnel, and then do a double gate manual for the drop-off area, so that after all the drop-offs were complete, the school could be secured with the gate on the front driveway and 2 gates on the back driveway. And to reaffirm, I think it might have been in one of the review memos, but we'll catch up on that. The idea was that during non-school hours, all of the gates will be open. So there'll be free access for any emergency services to be able to access the site. So the gates would only be closed when the students are present to actively provide protection for the students.
What do you have in place when the building is occupied for gate access for emergency vehicles? Do they open on alarm, manual?
The gates in the front along the driveway are automatic opening for when vehicles come in. They're closed to prevent pedestrians from leaving from the inside. But there'll be a ground loop so that it will automatically open. And then the ones in the front, there's going to be security operating those gates so that somebody will be manned for that.
All right.
Are there any questions about the fencing? Because I'm going to do the landscape next.
The one on the playground, the chain link, what's the distance between the sidewalk and the fence? On Oakner? No, on Oakner. There you go.
It's similar to the setback of the building. No, I'm sorry, it's between the, I would guess it's probably about 25 or 30 feet. We have an evergreen buffer all through that area. I could show you on the landscape plan, but that fence is as it was on the original approved plans. We're just asking for the additional 1 foot in height.
Right. Well, the ordinance caps the height at 5 feet, so
Understand.
that's why you're here instead of
Yeah,
at
no, I
this
understand.
minor site plan.
But I'm saying the location of that fence hasn't changed.
Right, no, I don't think it's the location that's the concern. We got to have a fence around the playground. I don't think there's any question about that.
I'm sorry, I don't have the landscape plan for that side, because the only changes we did for this were on the,
What's along Route 10, what is that landscaping going to look like?
that's what I was going to talk about now.
Okay.
So one of the things that that's changed since we were here for our initial approval is JCP&L has done their pole relocations and wire relocations. And during that process, they cut down all of the existing trees that were currently along Route 10 in that area. And the way that they have their wires located and there's underground utilities there, we took another look at potentially not using the London plane trees that we had originally contemplated. Instead, we went with a smaller statured tree. We're proposing columnar sergeant cherries that could exist under the wires and in the restricted areas we have spatially to be able to plant. So we have, those are the circles that are every 3 or 4 parking spaces, if you can see it here. Here and here.
Yeah, like a hedge.
And then what we did, we had a boxwood hedge along the fence, and part of the minor site plan was to raise the height of the boxwood to, I believe, 30 to 36 inches, or 3 feet. And in addition to that, what we did is we added in some columnar evergreen juniper, upright junipers, to be able to provide some additional buffering. So between the cherry trees, the boxwoods, and the junipers, I think you're going to have a very nice streetscape presentation and really help to buffer and mitigate any visual impacts from the fence. We also added some additional plantings in the corners of the parking lot, behind the Canterley Place sign, and near the building, so that the parking lot was fully and completely encased by plantings.
Have you planted the boxwoods, or is that the plan?
We have not planted them yet.
Okay,
The parking lot hasn't been built yet.
I'm just sharing it, it's probably slightly relevant. I'm not a landscaper, but I heard that the boxwoods are not going to survive in New Jersey going forward. So just check on them, because you plant new bushes and they don't last, and then we lose our green space. So just check on that also.
Okay, thank you. So that covers the fencing and the landscape.
I neglected to qualify you as a professional planner, so.
Okay. Landscape architect and professional planner. I've been before this board as both, I believe.
And your licenses are valid?
My license has just been renewed.
Okay.
So in addition to civil engineering, for what also?
Landscape architecture and planning.
Any objections? Okay. Got it.
Thank you.
So if there's no questions on that, I just wanted to go through the memos. I don't think that there was anything on the engineering memo that causes any concern. I talked about how the gates would be open when the school is vacant and only be closed when there were students at the school. We mentioned that the color of the fence is black. I believe that was on the original plans. We just did a very abbreviated application for these 2 sheets, and then we'll put a signature block on the plans.
Did you cover the site triangles?
Yeah, there's no issue with, we haven't changed any locations of any fencing.
No, the question, I guess, that was raised in the engineering report, although I don't want to speak for the board's engineer, was whether or not the increase in the height would have any impact on the site triangles.
No.
I just had a question. These fences aren't locked, right? They're always accessible, like the gates to them?
Correct.
Because obviously you're putting gates around, I guess, emergency doors. I just want to make sure they're not like locked.
Yeah, we would make sure that they were egress compliant. That was one of the things that we had discussed and reviewed internally. But obviously, if they need to have a push bar, whatever they need to be able to be accessible and be able to function as egress,
Okay.
they will.
And then, real quick, the fencing that's in the parking lot, how does that tie into Canley Place? How does that work? Like where are the limits of the fencing? If you can go to that rear parking lot. Because I think they have access in the back of their building also. I just want to make sure that's also maintained.
So specifically, are you talking about here?
Yes,
Which is
correct.
at the bottom right-hand corner of the parking lot, there's a sidewalk, there's a gate there.
There would
that-
be a gate,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Just want to make
That
sure.
was one of the things that we're coordinating with them.
Okay, perfect.
That was part of the original plans, too. So for the planning memo, I don't think there were any questions of anything that we were doing. I think I'll address, if I haven't addressed in testimony, I'll address it with the planning testimony to come. Was there anything else for the landscaping or the fencing that you had questions on?
This is the only comment I have, is in terms of the chain link fence in the rear and the parking lot. What's the reasoning for that, and can it be consistent with the fence in the front?
Well, the fence in the back is going to be compatible with the chain link fence for the storage unit. The self-storage unit has a chain link fence that goes around their property.
Okay. So that's different from the fence in the front, right?
Correct.
And then, just for planning testimony, there is a variance for the height in the front.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no further questions on the landscaping or the fence, I will proceed with the planning.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, I have just a couple. So I'm coming out of Canterley Place, or my kid just played a soccer game, and I'm driving down Oakner, and I'm going to make a right to go west on 10. First, I'm going by a 6-foot chain link fence, then these other 6-foot fences, corrals, as you call them, and then make a right, and there's a 6-foot fence all along Oakner Parkway. I mean, I question whether 6 foot is that much safer than 5 foot. We want the kids to be safe, but this is going to look like a mini prison at 6 feet in height with all these fences. You know, I'm a little protective of the fence ordinance because I drafted it 30 years ago when I was on the town council, when I didn't have so much gray hair. But I mean, is there any? Your people know better than I know, but 5 feet of that black split rail fence seems to me to be really safe as compared to needing 6 feet of it.
Steve, I sat in on several meetings with the administration, discussing the fencing and discussing the idea of 4 feet versus 5 feet versus 6 feet. And every time I did, I got my ears pinned back.
Well, I'm sure there were people in that room that wanted it to be 8 feet.
Well, I'm just saying that.
Some is good, more is better.
The administration and the staff that we were discussing it with had, very severe concerns about being able to contain a student that got over the fence.
What's the age group of the students in this building?
That would be a question for Ken.
We should probably have Ken testify.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's finish with this witness, and if there's a list of
Well, he's going to give
questions.
planning testimony, probably
Yeah.
going to relate to Ken's testimony.
Well, but you're not done asking questions about the fence. I would like for Mr. Conway to answer whatever questions he can, and then if there are questions left over that Mr. Berger would have to address, then I'll bring Mr. Berger up, he can address those, and then we can bring Mr. Conway back for the planning testimony, if that's okay.
Sure.
I want to make sure that the questions that you're asking are questions that Mr. Conway cannot answer, and that
Sure, and we could always go back and forth anyway and bring them back
Yeah.
if we have other questions as well, so.
And I
this is-
anticipated
This is, I think, our only opportunity to ask them a question, so.
I anticipated the concern about the 6-foot-high fences, and I really vetted it out with the staff, and they were emphatic and insistent.
So one more just from me. On the chain link fence around the playground, you're representing to us that there's a landscape plan that was previously approved. You don't have it, but you're telling us there was landscaping here. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, it had evergreens. It was well buffered from the street per the approved plan. I'm sorry, I should have thought to have brought the original approved plan set.
How large are the original, the initial, what's the size of the initial plantings that are going in?
The evergreens, I have the plant list, so I can get that for you.
You said they were putting the fence all the way down. They're not.
6 to 8s.
Yeah, what are those things? That's the corral, so that people can't get out.
These exit doors on the Oakner side of the building. If there's an emergency, you have it fenced in.
Can you turn your microphone on, please?
Sorry. The exit doors on the Oakner side of the building, it's a corral-type situation. Is that panic hardware, alarmed? How do they get out of that area?
Again, we had discussed it, I don't know that we had an answer for that, but it'd be some type of a push bar that would be similar to an exterior door to be able to get the gates open.
So if a young person were to get out that door and hit the push bar, they're out.
Correct.
So that
So what's the difference? How high the
designates everything you
fence
got.
is?
The idea was that they're going to be going out there, they're probably going to go straight out the door and look to go straight ahead. The gates are off to the left. It's giving the staff enough time to be able to try to catch up to them to deal with them. That's what we're looking to try to do with those.
So you're.
Because we can't provide, we had the idea to try to provide some kind of electric locks on the doors, and the doors all need to be freely openable to be able to get out of the building.
I think that's why the chief asked the
Right.
question.
That's allowed by code.
Say it again.
Those doors, you can have access within 45 seconds of pushing on the door, the door will open.
Right,
So a student can get to that door, push on it, and be out of the building.
correct.
I think the idea is not, and Mr. Berger can talk more about this, is that this is going to be a very highly managed area, and it's a lot easier to manage students exiting one door as opposed to students randomly selecting a part of the fence where they're going to try to scale it. These are special needs kids. These kids are high on the autistic spectrum, so their behavior is a little unpredictable. And Mr. Berger can certainly speak to that. But the idea is to try and protect the children while at the same time, obviously, complying with the code in terms of being able to exit the property. So that's going to have to be managed by staff. And I think, again, the applicant has deemed that the height of the fence is necessary based upon the experience that they've had in Verona, at their Verona location.
So you think the extra foot of 5 to 6 feet is more likely to deter the student as opposed to making a left and hitting the bar and walking out?
Well, again, I mean, Mr. Berger can speak to this, but again, it's going to be managed, so it's not like students are just going to be able to run to the door. Their staff will be protecting the door from that.
It's a big building.
No, I understand, but this, the students being inside and outside is going to be regulated by the school as to when they're inside and outside, so there will be an opportunity for that door to be managed, much less so in terms of a student who randomly runs out to a fence to scale it quickly, and that's what I think they're trying to protect against, based on their experience in Verona.
Are those side doors on Oakner, are those like alarmed? like fire exit doors that are alarm or no? Or
I believe that whatever they are, I would imagine they have to have some kind of alarm on them to prevent, at least notify people of what's
Somebody's
happening.
leaving,
But again,
right.
Ken could speak better to that than I could. I really haven't been so involved in the building end of things,
Okay.
only insofar as trying to help manage these accesses.
Thank you.
I've been to the Verona site. It's great. I mean, what you guys do is great. I think we're just trying to balance, you know, we try and keep our section of Route 10 as nice as we can. You know, like Route 10 is Route 10, but when you cross the river, you kind of see the difference. And this is just, you know, these are big fences, and it's going to be, right now, I mean, that's trees and grass. It's going to be a parking lot with metal fencing right up to Route 10. And people are going to look at us and go, what the hell did you guys approve here?
Respectfully, I have to disagree with you on the Route 10 side of it, Steve. The landscaping that we're doing there is going to really, I think, serve to mitigate the fencing in that area around the parking lot.
And going along Oakner, and I don't know if you can get back to that section of the picture, what's the total length, frontage of that frontage of the building? And then how much of those little corrals, how wide are each of those? Maybe 6 feet, 8 feet out of, so it's not like one continuous fence, right? It's just each little section?
No, they're, I believe they're 8 by 12, they're
Roughly.
reasonably small.
And then
And the property line along Oakner is showing as 1,500 feet, so it's a long distance.
Yeah.
And a long and big building. We're really trying to come up with the least obtrusive way to help ameliorate the concerns of the faculty and the staff, and provide them the tools that they need to provide the protection for the students.
And so in that example you have there, the two different doors, roughly how far apart are those? 100
How
feet?
far apart?
Yeah, from door to door. There's like 4 doors going on the other side, but I think they look like they're 100 plus
I
feet
can't
apart from each other.
measure it on the computer. I'm like an analog man in a digital world here.
50 foot.
If it's the scale.
I would say they're probably 75 feet apart, somewhere in that range.
Just 50 foot.
Yeah, well, 1 inch is 50 feet, they're probably 50, 60 feet, yeah. Is there any reason for the students would be in the front parking lot, right? That's not a drop-off or pickup.
It's not. So these are the same questions that I asked the administration and the staff. So, but that would be where students who were coming to be interviewed or coming to see the school would be coming from. And, you know, there's the potential for them to be frightened and or skittish, being in a strange environment. And that was one of the flags that they had raised for that. Because I said, if it's the front door, how are the students going to get out of there? But it was more for the people coming to see the school than students leaving from parking lot.
Got it. So the bus and mom and dad pickup and all is in the rear, right?
Correct, in the back. The front is just going to be for visitors and then potentially for new students to come.
And theoretically, students could get out the front door if there was a child that was in distress and heading for any of the doors, right?
Correct.
Is there anything that shows that, you know, a 4-foot versus 5-foot versus a 6-foot fence is better or worse than at keeping the child from not, you know, jumping that?
Again, I could share my experience in the conversations I had with the administration. They said that the students at the Verona school can get over the 4-foot fence very easily. And that was a concern that they had. In Verona, it was much less of a concern because it was a much more
It's in a neighborhood.
pastoral environment. It was, you know, it was a kind of a safe, quiet street far off of Bloomfield Avenue.
Right.
Over here, we don't have that same luxury.
There's no question, we do not want anybody to be able to get over that fence. It's right on Route 10. It would be terrible.
And that's one of the reasons why we had, I took another look at the landscaping and tried to enhance and bolster it to really provide some buffering, some screening, and provide an attractive streetscape so that, you know, the fences will be less obvious.
Was there any experience with a 5-foot fence at the other location?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But I shared the idea of the 5-foot fence and explained to them that we had the 5-foot fence already approved, and they were animate about they needed 6 feet.
I mean, Mr. Berger will testify as to the actual experience that they've had with children scaling the fences and can give you insight as to how they made the judgment. And believe me, it's a judgment that they wouldn't want to make, but for safety concerns, they're incurring additional expense with a project that they would certainly not want to incur if they didn't believe it was that important. But he can certainly share with you the experience that they've had with Verona and why they came to the view that the 6-foot fence is necessary.
Would you like to swear him in now?
Sure. Mr.
Okay.
Berger. Yeah, go ahead. Right there.
Mr. Berger, can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're going to provide in this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And Mr. Berger, what is your position?
Sir, please state your first
Oh,
name.
sorry.
Kenneth Berger, B-E-R-G-E-R.
Mr. Berger, what is your position with the applicant?
Chief Executive Officer and Executive Director.
Okay, so you're the lead guy there, correct?
Yeah, that's what the board tells me.
Okay, and how long have you been?
Everything goes wrong.
How long have you been? He's the guy they blame. How long have you been employed by Spectrum?
Just about 6 years.
Okay, and you're familiar with the matter. There's matters that are being discussed today relative to the height of the fence and the need to increase the height from 4 to 5 feet in certain areas to 6 feet, correct?
Yes.
Can you please share with the board what is motivating that decision and why you and the staff have come to the conclusion that a 6-foot fence is safe, whereas a 5-foot and 4-foot fence not so
Yes.
much?
Maybe I could start by making a humble correction to one of the things that Mr. Conway said that relates to the Verona property, and I know, Mr. Santola, you've seen us there. We have had students that have made it all the way to Bloomfield Avenue and have run across the street. And this Route 10 is so much closer than Bloomfield Avenue. The children are from the ages of 3 to 14 or even 15 years old. And as you know, kids are a lot taller today than they used to be. And scaling a fence is of concern, even a 6-foot fence. But the point is, we're doing everything that we can think of to minimize any risk. Just to give you a quick, maybe this is a little sidebar, we spent about $400,000. We have cameras in every nook and cranny of that building. We have created man traps inside before the door. So we get to the fence, you've got a man trap, then you've got the door, then you've got the fence. We are trying to do everything that we can possibly think of because we're so worried, because we've seen this happen before of kids scaling. They're incredibly fast. And so that's really, I mean, I'm partly guilty here because, I was meeting with the planning board before, and they didn't just box Mr. Conway's ears. I also, I've been out of the direct service for a while, and they was saying to me, we are so concerned about somebody getting hurt or a driver, it's so that sort of is why we think that, you've pointed out some very true things that, none of these things are locked. And so it's the whole idea is you have to get through this and through this and through this, and this is high enough that hopefully all of those barriers together combined collectively will mitigate the tremendous risk that we are concerned about for the safety of the students. And some of them have profound autism, so they may not immediately know that you go to the side to push to get through. And so, but in other cases, higher functioning students, it's a real risk. That's part of the reason why we're also going to have security guards on the outside of the building, and the cameras are everywhere, and we have security guards roving the inside of the building, watching the cameras. We're doing everything that we can possibly think of to make sure that everybody's safe. So we do think that adding to that 6-foot fence will get us to the point where the principals and the teachers are comfortable as long as we add this additional element to maximize the safety for everybody.
Have there been any safety studies done at other schools as to what's the most appropriate method, to have kids not be able to scale, these sorts of things?
Most of our colleagues are not as close to a major roadway as this building, so we don't really have we've had conversations with Lifetown, right, and they have had similar concerns about this, and they've told us stories as well, so I can tell you that. And we've had some experiences with our upper school, but, by the time the kids are in the upper school, we've had enough years to work with them to address the issues of elopement, so we're less concerned about the much older kids. But it can take us years to work with the children to make sure that they understand that they're not to go out a particular door. It can take years.
Your fencing in Verona is 4 foot high?
Yeah, I think it's roughly 4 feet in various areas, but we're way back from the road. And even then, we've chased kids and...
You've had clients climb over that fence?
And they've gone all the way to Bloomfield Avenue.
Over a 4-foot fence?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The concern about the image, which of course is far secondary after the health issue, but by really beefing up the landscaping along Route 10, I can't tell by this, but it doesn't look like a heck of a lot of stuff there. And at least that would cover a substantial amount of that 6-foot fence from the traffic back and forth.
Yes.
Maybe we should take a look at filling that in more than maybe you have since planned.
You're saying
I agree
additional...
with Sam. So not to spend your money, but do you guys have like an AI function at the office where you can put the landscape plan in and show us what it's going to look like in 3D as you drive Route 10?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I could do a sketch, I could do sections. I mean, there's a full evergreen hedge around the entire property, entire parking lot in the front of the building.
How high will that be?
The minimum is 3 feet, I think 30 to 36 for the boxwoods, and the junipers are 4 to 5 feet. And then in between those are the cherry trees, which are going to be probably branched at 5 feet. So.
But in fairness to us, you're looking for a big variance of the fence that's right on Route 10. Give us an exhibit, help us out so that we can have some level of confidence and, Rocco can look at it and say, maybe this one should be a little taller. We want to welcome 360 to town, right? We want these kids to be safe. We need a little help here, and there's nothing in front of us to give us that.
I think the last thing that anybody on this board wants to see is anybody get hurt.
That's
And we don't want to spend your money unnecessarily.
Right.
Rather have it go to the kids. Is there a possibility, can the chain link fence that's on the parking lot, on the playground, can that be the same fence that's on the front of the building? Or is that not code?
Oh, code.
It wouldn't be a code issue, it'd be a cost issue.
So maybe you think about that too, because then at least when you're on opener, you're not looking at a 6-foot chain link fence, you're looking at something a little more aesthetically. Especially with all your new neighbors at the apartments there.
Okay, well, we hear you in terms of preparing an exhibit that would enable you to better visualize what this would look like. Is that something that you can do?
Sure.
Is there any opportunity too for the ones you have on the screen right there to do a little like landscaping in front of each of those so it doesn't look like 4 cages or something going down the street? Yeah, okay.
And maybe if you could bring back your exhibit from the playground and show us, maybe put it in color and show us what's going on there.
For the playground?
For the playground fence, the one on Oakner that you said that the subcommittee, minor subcommittee approved that we don't have any copies of?
The playground fence was part of the original application.
No, he's asking for you to bring that back, yeah.
And the landscaping?
Yeah, sure.
Right. Who was on the minor subcommittee meeting then? Richie and you?
Richie, Was I on that one?
No, I wasn't at that one.
You losing your mind?
I might have been. It's a long time ago, though.
Well, apparently there was a whole discussion on the heights of the fence.
Yeah. But that's why, that's, I don't remember what they look like, though.
Well, the fence I showed you, that,
Yeah, we were asking for 5-foot high fences for everything, and we were approved with a 4-foot high fence around the Route 10 side parking lot. Everything else was 5.
Geez, I don't remember that.
I'm convinced that the 4 feet around the front parking lot is not adequate. The testimony is, made me comfortable with that. Because if somebody gets over that fence, they're 2 steps from Route 10.
Yeah, that's,
So that's unacceptable.
Yeah, I agree with you. So we should look at other ways to make it more eye-appealing to the cars. Height of the shrubs is one thing, and then proximity. And I know that often we say, well, in 10 years it'll be filled in. I won't be here.
Yes, you will, Sam.
Well, the shrubs are going to be going in to cover more than half of the height of the fence. So, and that was the
So
thought
give
process.
some thought to maybe like every 30 or 40 feet, putting in like, a bat. You know what a bat is? Big-ass trees.
That's what we were, that's what,
Like an evergreen that goes, you
That's what-
plant it at 6 or 8 feet, and you put one every 30 or 40 feet, and it'll grow in a lot quicker.
that was part of the idea. We also don't have a lot of real estate north and south.
Right.
So that was part of the idea behind the junipers, was to create some vertical element. We could certainly increase them. I put them in at 4 to 5 feet. We could certainly increase them to 5 to 6 or 6 to 7, so that they're going in, kind of covering the fence as it was. I think to have some variation of plantings and not have it be a monolith would be a much nicer approach, that even if there was glimpses of the tops of the fences through some of the plantings, I think that would still be the better way. And the other thing that was determined in the minor site plan was to put the plantings on the Route 10 side of the fence so that they were providing some buffering. So that's all those things we had done.
Look, I think what the board is saying is that, the 6-foot safety issue is obviously incredibly important. They just want to see aesthetically what this is going to look like, with a 6-foot fence, and perhaps, changing, the chain link to something that's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing.
Not all the way around, just
Yeah.
on the opener-facing piece.
Okay.
and more landscaping on the opener side also.
Well, we haven't seen it. but
For
yeah.
the corrals,
Yes.
for the
Right.
playground area,
Playground
that's
area.
already been covered by the evergreen trees that
Have
were
you
on the
thought
original
about
site
doing
plan.
an interior compartment exit on those doors?
I believe that there's like an airlock, if you would. Is that
Maybe it's
correct,
existing?
Ken?
Yeah.
Where there's a door, like Get Smart. There's a door to go through to a door.
We're old enough to get that right.
At least some of us.
I used to fake being sick when I was young so I could stay home and watch Get Smart.
We have 99 of those.
Mr. Santola had mentioned that as the traffic is making a right from Oakner to Route 10, so that's also kind of makes me wonder that when you plan the plantings, we have to make sure that the visibility is not affected for the drivers making a right there.
Yeah, the visibility, they're far enough back, and there's also a traffic light there, so there's no issue with that. The Canterley Place sign is more of an obstruction than any of the planting that we're going to be doing.
All right.
So when you make the rendering, these 4 gates here as well as seen on the screen, I think it will be good to see that as well. Because from Oakner, the way it is shown, it looks pretty bare. I guess it's good to kind of see how aesthetically they look better as well. Otherwise, 6 foot there with 4 cages. I agree
That's-
with Barry earlier, he mentioned that.
That's a very long part of there's a very long part of the building, and it's also lower than the street.
Yeah,
And
it drops
it's-
down.
It's set back quite a ways.
Yeah, I mean, I did it on just Google Maps. I think
Yep.
it's 500-foot building with 4 doors, but still.
Yep,
six-
understood.
They're still going to look like cages, so if you could put some plantings in front of them.
I understand.
help.
Fully.
All right, so I think we,
Color that's more aesthetic than black.
No, I think black's the way to go.
Black's good.
are there any other questions before we decide to move forward with this? And I guess, carry this to a future meeting so we can get some of these renderings back?
And you'll do your planning testimony when we carry it with the, right?
Yeah, of course.
After we
Yep, yep.
see the new stuff, yep.
Of
We're
course.
sorry to slow you down, but I think we're making good progress
Yeah.
to get this right.
Thank
Because
you.
we wanted to protect you and
Well, yeah, the only other factor is just, the plan, the scheduled opening date is September 1st, so whatever we can do soon, we
Sure.
get to you as soon as we can.
So when can we bring them back, Jackie?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we can bring this back on Tuesday, July 21st.
And you can start the parking lot and stuff, right? This is just the, right,
Yeah,
the parking
we already
lot's
did.
underway.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Would that 21st work for you guys?
We'll be able to cover it, yeah.
And you can get the drawings in before.
We'll talk to the contractor and let him know.
Okay.
And just try and get the renderings in 10 days so she can get them out to us. And then we'll all have seen it, we can have a quick conversation and hopefully wrap up.
I will do the renderings, I will also do enlargements of each of the areas we talked about, doing some enhanced planting ons, et cetera.
And if you want to pre-mark them A1 through however you're going to.
Well, they'll be submitted as new drawings, so they won't be
Okay.
exhibits. They'll be.
Okay. Anything further? All right, so this matter is continued to July 21, 2026. No further notice of the applicant to the public is required. This is the public's public notice of the continuance of this hearing. Anything further?
Thank you.
Hearing none, if I can have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Have a
everybody.
Terrific, safe 4th of July. Big one this year.
Yeah, it is.